In Ask the Bible Season 2, our guests, be it Malaysian students or staff from IVS East Asia, are still given one passage on the spot. Then they are given 10 minutes to read and write down their questions and their comments or thoughts on that passage. At the end of 10 minutes, they're given only 5 minutes to share with us what they have written. We hope that as in Season 1, this series will continue to encourage you to pause and ask questions when you read the Bible. In today's episode, a staff from FBS Hong Kong shares his observation that the biggest challenge faced by staff as they seek to help students engage with Scripture is reading the text is becoming less attractive to students as they don't seem to be interested in reading text materials such as the Bible. And as students in Hong Kong are packed with lots of academic activities and assignments, it's becoming harder to form Bible engaging groups with regular Bible study meetings. Andrew is an assistant ministry staff with FBS Hong Kong, mainly going to Polytechnic University and Education University Christian Fellowship since July 2021. Before that, you had 1.5 years experience in a very interesting job, working as a violin restorer. Do you see any relation between working as a violin restorer with your job as a staff worker now? There are similarities.
Yeah, of course. Because actually, the job as a violin restorer is actually a very artistic job, right? The last job is actually not only the skills of woodworking or violin restoration. It actually urged me to have a mindset of how to look at my life or everyone's life or the world more artistically. So when I start doing the ministry stuff, I try to integrate the artistic ways or artistic direction, maybe Bible study or even theological thinking. So together with my ministry facing students, I think that's actually very interesting or very useful way for me to connect with the student or connect the student, connect us with the Bible.
Philippians chapter 1.
Okay, cool. I divide in different parts. The first part is the writers, mentioning writers and the receivers. And the second paragraph or second part is actually how Paul and Timothy pray for the Philippines. And the third part is actually how Paul urged the people to do or to live in their life. My first question is, when I look at the first paragraph, verses 1 to 2, what is the background of the writer? What they are facing or what is their situation? In this letter, they mentioned Paul and Timothy. Where are they or what they are facing is actually my first question. The Filipinos is actually the receivers. And also, who are they? What they are actually doing or facing. And the third question about this paragraph is why they will say that apart from the receivers, Philippines, and why they will mention overseas and deacons. I think that's a very interesting question. Writers mentioned that he prayed for the receivers. What is the functions or what is actually reflect when you write prayers in letters? Is it actually you're very close to them, or you have very good relationship with the receiver groups, or other possibilities? Paul actually writes he always pray with joy. Why he will write it like this, or actually especially mention joy in this prayer? So in the next paragraph is actually a Paul's message. There's something happening to him when he served to advance the gospel. So I will ask what actually happened to Paul. And also, he say that under the situation, he's actually advancing the gospel. So apart from the situation he's facing, what is meaning of advancing the gospel? Can you imagine what situation when they are facing will especially mention the rejoice? Is a very bad situation, or even in a jail, or something like other things you can imagine? And if you try to imagine more, what is the situation close to our lives? if you want to especially mention rejoice in your letters or in your speaking.
How would you apply this situation or challenge your students if you're doing this passage?
I think in Hong Kong, the situation now, I think somehow it's quite connected to the situation of course, because even for, for students, actually the university environment is actually somehow like a small jail, not as open or not as open as before. Fences outside the university. Only authorized person can get in.
Okay.
Gas or public are very difficult to get in. So I think that the situation that is connected to political or actually what the students are facing. I think course as experience is very good live example of what is rejoice and how can we rejoice when we accept the gospel.
Ask questions when you read the Bible. So let's engage scripture today.